Saskatchewan to finally see a stretch of heat. What's in store after weeks of rain? 2 rescues on the South Saskatchewan River, why the city has issued yet another warning to stay off the water. And digital download, the concern for some gamers they won't have control over.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. After a rainy start to the summer, the sun has made a return across much of our province today as many people took advantage of the weather. Environment Canada says warmer, drier conditions could continue over the next several days. CTV's Stacey Hine has those details.
After weeks of rain and gloomy weather, many Saskatchewan residents and visitors are taking advantage of the sunshine.
We like to play in the water to cool down and come and look at the river.
We love running around outside and playing in the splash parks and the paddling pools.
Among those enjoying the sun are visitors from Norway.
Yeah, we were a bit taken aback by tornado warnings because we're not quite used to that, but no, this is great.
One Saskatoon resident says it finally feels like summer is here.
Just as when you thought the weather is getting better, then it is rain, then it was kind of a roller coaster. But I think finally, we are there.
For many, it's a welcome change after recent rainfall led to flooding in parts of the province. In June, Saskatoon recorded nearly 104 millimeters of rain, well above the monthly average of about 75 millimeters. Regina received about 147 millimeters of rain last month, above the 85 millimeter average. Environment Canada says an upper ridge is expected to develop, bringing warmer, drier weather.
We are expecting that to sort of develop probably into early next week. Still early, so we're going to have to keep our eye on it, but that often will mean warmer, drier conditions.
The forecast is also welcome news for the Sask Jazz Fest, with organizers saying the warmer weather is expected to boost walk-up ticket sales.
There's really 2 groups of people who are like, I love the Jazz Fest or I love the lineup and I'm going no matter what, and so they buy their tickets well in advance. And then we have those who are like, I am not into the rain and I'm going to wait until that date.
The festival runs through Saturday with a stretch of warm, sunny weather expected to continue into next week. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Meanwhile, Mother Nature delivering a heavy dose of hail to Swift Current last night.
Look at all the hail, you guys.
The storm brought hail and heavy rainfall, leaving streets flooded. City officials say it left behind leaves and debris, with the hail forming piles across the city. Crews are working to clear catch basins and storm drains to help with drainage. Swift Current Light and Power says there might still be isolated power-related problems, but have crews ready to help where needed. Now to the flooding situation in East Central Saskatchewan. 17 communities have now declared a state of emergency because of water damage. Sierra D'Souza Butts has the latest.
Various roads to enter Cody First Nation, including Highway 8, are blocked off from excess water.
We just don't realize, the impact of what water can do and, how do you prepare for that?
The damage caused by flooding from recent rainfall over the past few weeks has also impacted people's homes.
Right now we have a crew there helping out at the sump pumps, to drain the basements and the crawl spaces that were affected.
The Nation is one of 17 communities and RMs who have declared a state of emergency due to flooding in the province.
The agency is supporting multiple communities and rural areas with equipment, resources, including pumps, hoses, and sandbags.
Adding about 100 to 120 millimeters of rain was reported on roads between Kenora and Yorkton. The town of Kamsack putting out a large garbage container out for residents to drop off flood items and debris.
The number that we were provided from the administrator of the town was that approximately 70% of the basements had some sort of water damage, which is a very high number.
The government says it plans to continue engaging with impacted communities to find out what further supports are needed.
We're not only here to assist with any needs as the flooding's happening, but we'll be in constant communication with municipal leadership to ensure we're there for the cleanup effort.
In the meantime, Cody says he is thankful to see people in the community helping one another out through these difficult times.
It's really a big help, because we don't have the resources to buy the culverts, the grid road, the gravel, and whatever is required to put the roads back into operation.
Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
A tornado in western Saskatchewan last week left some damage on a farmyard. This was the scene in the Denzel area on Thursday night. No one was injured, but you can see the aftermath, including a semi-trailer that was sent tumbling. It was one of 7 tornadoes that touched down last week in Saskatchewan. One was near Kindersley, also on Thursday, 2 near Springwater and Edam on Friday, and a week ago, a tornado was confirmed near Elrose. And on the 28th, 2 were spotted near Pelly in eastern Saskatchewan. It's definitely been an interesting summer of weather so far, Jeff.
It certainly has. I know we had some thunder boomers rolling through Saskatoon last night. Some places got a lot of rain with that. Some didn't get as much. But those same storms, the storms that brought the problems down to parts of southern Saskatchewan, obviously in the Swift Current area, those have moved through Manitoba. Now they're impacting parts of northwestern Ontario. So still some unsettled conditions. And we're not done with them yet because we're keeping our eye on this system moving up from Montana. That could impact southern Saskatchewan. More details on that later.
The city is again warning people to stay away from the South Saskatchewan River. Fast-moving water has torn loose critical safety buoys near the weir again. And as crews work to replace them, officials say the river remains extremely dangerous. Carla Shinkerick explains.
Fast-moving water once again dislodged the safety buoys between the University Bridge and the weir. One more sign of just how powerful the South Saskatchewan River is right now, thanks to rainfall in Alberta.
The city of Saskatoon seeing about that 0.8 meter increase in river levels. So certainly it has gone up.
City crews are working to safely reinstall the buoys, but it's urging everyone to stay away from the river. For this resident who walks along here daily, the warning just makes sense.
I look at it and it's obviously running very fast and river levels going up and the buoys are either there or they're broken.
The warning goes beyond boating or paddling. Officials also asking people not to swim, float, fish from the shore, or even get too close to the riverbank. Most boat launches are currently closed. Even with that, fire crews retrieved an empty boat out of the water on Saturday. The owner was located safe later. Then on Sunday, someone was rescued from Yorath Island, which is southwest of the city. So this is one of the signs that the city has put up to deter people from going near the river, but some we spoke to think more should be done.
There should be a lot more warnings, and they should even tell people to stay off of it, like police officers patrolling and tell them to stay off the water.
I think there should be a sign, some kind of, big signs that would warn, especially those who are visiting Saskatoon from other places about dangers.
The jet skier who died on June 20th was from Mexico. His body was recovered near Warman about 2 weeks later. Right now, river levels are more than 3 times higher than normal.
Approximately 700 cubic meters per second right now. Currently, we're operating the spillway, so that's kind of the large structure, and the gates are open there.
With river levels expected to be running high until July 25th. Carla Shinkerick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
This heat may not be welcome news for areas dealing with wildfires this season. The Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency is reporting 64 wildfires burning across the northern half of the province. 8 are considered not contained, 5 are contained, and 42 are undergoing ongoing assessments. The remaining 9 fall under protecting values as a priority.
Also been engaging with communities a lot sooner than normal protocols would be. So sharing media information, social media, engaging with the communities, with having representatives at the community level.
So far this year, there have been 212 fires in Saskatchewan compared to 354 at this time last year. One person was sent to hospital over the weekend following a fire at a home. Firefighters were called to the 1000 block of Hazen Street Saturday morning at about 2:30. They arrived to find heavy smoke inside the house. The homeowner was able to get out and call 911, but suffered smoke inhalation and was taken to hospital for care. An investigator will now work to determine the cause of the fire. An investigation has been launched into a fire at a home in the 400 block of Greaves Crescent. Crews were called just before noon and found smoke coming from the back of the house. The fire did not spread into the home and was extinguished quickly. No one was injured. A man involved in the killing of a Saskatoon man will spend 7.5 years behind bars. A sentence the family of the victim says doesn't go far enough. CTV's Laura Woodward has that story.
Anna Braband-Urquiza remembers her little brother's eyes light up when he smiled. His life cut short, killed at 20 years old. Matthew Braband was shot at the Riviera Motor Inn on Avenue B North during the May long weekend last year. Tyler Pembrum and Lawrence Opikakew pleaded guilty to manslaughter with a firearm. He told police he pulled the trigger at a closed door, not aiming at anyone in particular, but wanted to shake them up, as he believed someone in the motel room had threatened him with bear mace. Opikakew is spending 13 years in prison, while a judge accepted a joint submission of 7.5 years for Pembrum. His sister tells CTV News the prison sentence isn't strong enough, especially when days are deducted for time he's already served.
There was a real issue over whether he knew the firearm was loaded and obviously whether it was going to be used, and so we had to kind of evaluate his culpability or fault considering those issues.
Pembrum apologized from the prisoner's box and said he hopes one day the family can forgive him. Laura Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
An inmate released by mistake has been arrested and sent back to custody. 26-year-old Kalisha Jackson was serving time at the Saskatchewan Hospital North Battleford Integrated Correctional Facility when she was let go on March 19th. She was arrested by Regina Police today and is in the custody at the Pine Grove Correctional Center. She is facing charges related to assault and confinement. Environmental advocates are calling on the province to stop its nuclear power plans and consider more affordable ways of generating power. It comes as the federal government looks to get the entire country on board with a nuclear energy future.
The Saskatchewan Environmental Society and the Coalition for a Clean Green Saskatchewan say recent nuclear power projects across the world are going over budget and taking far longer to build than originally estimated, and that's reason enough to pause our nuclear plans.
Opting for nuclear power is going to bury SaskPower in debt, drive electricity rates up sharply, and put SaskPower in danger of bankruptcy.
SaskPower plans to make a decision on whether or not to invest into nuclear technology in 2029. It has 2 sites in mind near Estevan where a small modular reactor would go to generate 300 megawatts of power for up to 300,000 homes all year long. These groups say other options like solar or wind energy, battery storage, conservation, and efficiency improvements should be considered instead at a fraction of the cost.
I think the best thing that Saskatchewan could do is just to revert back to existing known technologies and make a transformation that way.
SaskPower says understanding and evaluating this cost and risks is an important part of developing the supply option for Saskatchewan. Based on feasibility work done to date, SMRs have the potential to be a competitive option. This comes as the federal government plans to enable the construction of 10 nuclear reactors in the next 15 years.
If our goal is to double our grid and reach net zero by 2050, there is no credible plan for Canada to do that without nuclear energy.
As Preble and Halliday worry SaskPower's current path could deplete the Crown Corporation, the province is ready for the opportunity.
There's a lot in this country that pushes us apart, and I say that being from Western Canada. Nuclear is an area that really we can bring the country together.
Keenan Sorakan, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Sony, the makers of PlayStation, have recently announced that it will no longer be producing physical games after 2028. That's left many in the gaming community feeling like it's game over. Hallie Mandrick with those details.
For Anthony Foster, the owner of Next Level Game Exchange, Sony's recent announcement to cease production of physical games for PlayStation consoles was hard to process.
It's probably the most shocking email I've ever woken up to. I've been in the industry for 20 plus years, 20 years here with Next Level, and I was shocked.
According to the company, all new PlayStation games that are released after January 2028 will only be available in a digital format. Foster shared that while digital downloads have been an option for a while, many still opt for a physical copy.
It's going to be a huge change because as a consumer, you aren't going to own anything anymore. You're going to be paying for the license to play a game until they choose to remove it, and you won't be able to send it to your friend or gift it to somebody.
For many who have worked on the production side of the video game industry, this news isn't shocking, but it is disappointing.
So it seems like maybe they have correctly identified the trend line and the cost opportunity, but sort of misread the room in terms of how people are going to respond.
Hovdestad says the gaming industry is unique in the way that physical media offers a sense of security for those who want to expand their collection.
If I want to go back and watch a movie that I loved as a kid, I can still do that. If I want to read a book that was formative to me 30 years ago, I can still do that. But if I want to go play my favorite game from 25 years ago, it's entirely possible that that's not actually doable. There's no physical way to do it. Some of those things are just lost.
Foster says this decision will have significant impacts on the future of the gaming industry as a whole.
I'm sure it's going to push the retro market even further because there's a lot of people who are very passionate about owning the things that they pay for.
CTV News has reached out to Sony PlayStation for comment. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Environment officials have now confirmed that zebra mussels have been found in the Lake of Prairies, which runs along the Manitoba-Saskatchewan boundary. Last week, the Ministry of Environment issued a containment order on the lake after multiple invasive mussels were found in the early stage of their life cycle, but didn't specify which species. Up to this point, zebra mussels have been kept out of Saskatchewan. Any boats or watercraft that come out of the Lake of the Prairies in both provinces need to be decontaminated before going into any other body of water. Soccer fans gathered in Saskatoon over the weekend to watch Canada take on Morocco. World Cup festivities taking over Gather local market on Saturday. The day was free to the public and featured games, music, beer gardens, and of course, big screens to catch the game. Local youth soccer teams could also show off their skills with a mini pitch.
I think it's just incredible to see right now. If I'm looking down the street, I see Canadian jerseys flooding the sidewalks. And what that shows me is that sport is as a tool of unification. We find unity in community around sport. And it's so amazing to see what's happening through the World Cup and seeing all of these Canadian fans.
While there was a lot of support during the game, Canada ended up losing to Morocco with a final score of 3-0. Well, as you heard earlier, Sask Jazz Fest is underway for another year. Patrick Moonbird, an Indigenous artist from Prince Albert, playing the free stage at KW Nasser Plaza. He's one of several performers playing at venues around the city until Saturday. There are several free shows in addition to ticketed acts. Still to come, Canada selects a company to build its submarines. Is everyone on board? And the World Cup call involving the U.S. president that is not going over well. You're watching CTV News Live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. After a month-long competition, Ottawa has selected a German company to build Canada's new submarine fleet, a bid worth billions of dollars and pledging to create thousands of jobs. The announcement comes just weeks ahead of this week's NATO summit. Graham Richardson has the details.
In the end, Prime Minister Mark Carney made it clear the German bid's connection to NATO may have been the key difference.
Canada has selected TKMS as the preferred supplier for Canada's patrol submarine project.
This is a massive game changer for the Navy and Canada. Right now, one of Canada's aging 4 subs is operational. The TKMS subs are still years away. Officials say 4 of them will be delivered to Canada by 2034. Carney says the sub purchase has already been factored in to Canada's fiscal outlook.
By design, this process will have far and away the greatest economic impact of any defense investment right across Canada. This was a difficult close decision between two highly qualified suppliers.
Carney also said the connection to NATO and the operability in the Arctic tilted Canada to TKMS and away from the South Koreans.
The submarine is proven and capable. It's widely used by our allies.
And these subs are said to be very stealthy, the ability to wait and patiently be able to have the surveillance of the area so that if the Russians try to make the breakthrough, they will be surprised by the Canadian presence.
Canada shortlisted this project less than a year ago. That's an incredibly fast pace for any country, unheard of in Canada until today. And that is the message Mark Carney will take to Turkey and NATO in the next couple of days. Canada has changed because the world has changed. Graham Richardson, CTV News, Halifax.
Hot on the heels of one pipeline announcement, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith is now partnering with Ontario's Doug Ford to push a different cross-Canada connection. They're calling the proposal the Northern Shield. CTV's Kevin Green has those details.
Alberta's Danielle Smith and Ontario's Doug Ford joined in Calgary to make the case for a cross-Canada pipeline that would take crude from Hardisty, Alberta, eastward across Canada to Sarnia, Ontario, to supply refineries and factories there.
By connecting Alberta's energy with Canadian refineries and European markets, we can create jobs, grow our economy, and make the most out of the world-class resources that we've been blessed with.
The pipeline would carry 500,000 barrels per day to start, with the potential to expand to 800,000.
If there's one thing we can all agree on, it's this. We need to take action now to protect Canadian jobs and Canadian families.
The big question is, who pays? Smith and Ford say they'd like a private sector proponent, but indicated they're prepared to go ahead without one.
We'll reach out to the private sector, but we won't hesitate to do what the government in Canada and Alberta's doing.
Meaning taxpayers could be on the hook for a large part of an undetermined but certainly multi-billion-dollar cost. Greenpeace Canada says it doesn't add up for the economy or the environment.
Why not cut out the middleman and just have Canadians send their tax dollars directly to ExxonMobil? I mean, there is no private proponent for this pipeline because there's no business case.
The Macdonald-Laurier Institute argues while the economic case is fuzzy, Canada needs to think about energy supply, security, and reliability.
If you can displace some Russian product, for example, if you can replace some product from OPEC that goes through the Strait of Hormuz that right now Eastern Canada depends on, that would also be a win.
The Northern Shield proposal stems from an agreement between Ontario, Alberta, and Saskatchewan to study new energy and trade infrastructure. Kevin Green, CTV News, Calgary.
A stunning decision by FIFA to let a U.S. soccer play tonight in the match against Belgium. The superstar had a red card against him and was suspended from the game. The controversial decision comes after a direct phone call from the U.S. president. CTV's Joy Malbin on why this decision is not going over well.
Yeah, I did. I spoke to Johnny.
President Donald Trump confirming he made that controversial call, asking his friend FIFA's president Gianni Infantino to review the red card suspension of America's hottest player, Fuller and Balogun. Trump called the referee's decision horrible and, quote, a little bit suspect, even calling on reporters to check the referee's past.
I asked for a review because I didn't think it was a foul. And, you know, again, I'm good at this stuff. I didn't think it was a foul. I thought it was two great athletes that crashed into each other.
FIFA's highly unusual reversal overturns the red card suspension, and the Belgians are furious. Their coach thought it was an April Fool's joke.
It's a bad decision. Not good for the sport.
And Europe's governing soccer body said FIFA had crossed a red line.
It is remarkable that the president has entered the conversation. And I think that's the thing. And you'd be very concerned about the slippery slope. King Charles, does he want to weigh in on last night's red card for an English player?
So will the appearance of political influence sully the beautiful game? Here's what World Cup fans had to say.
It's just the reversal is a little weird and the timing's a little strange.
Definitely think that Trump played a trump card. I'd be really annoyed if I was a Belgium fan. It's good for the USA though.
And today, FIFA dismissed an appeal by the Belgians, clearing the way for America's star striker to play against Belgium in that big match tonight. Joy Malbin, CTV News, Washington.
Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen, who went on an historic mission around the moon and back in April, is leaving the Canadian Space Agency. The agency says Hansen will be pursuing new professional opportunities beginning in September, but he will continue to serve as a reservist with the Royal Canadian Air Force. Hansen's work on the historic Artemis II mission showcased Canada's role in space exploration on a worldwide stage. Back here on Earth, Jeff, it definitely is warming up out there.
It certainly is, and I think a lot of people are really quite thrilled by the fact that we're expecting a stretch of warmer than seasonal temperatures, mainly sunny skies, so a pretty nice stretch of conditions as we make our way into the first sort of the heart of July. But let's take a look at some numbers right now. We can tell you that southern Saskatchewan may still have to deal with some rain and some thunderstorms. But right now in Saskatoon, it's 22 degrees. Ditto that for Prince Albert, 21 in the Battlefords. And as you can see, not particularly windy in the Battlefords, a little breezier in Saskatoon and PA, but not by a lot. So approaching moderate strength winds there. 23 degrees for a high in Saskatoon. 24 is typical for this time of year. 34 degrees. And that is the warm temperature record set in 1924. The cold record temperature set 10 years after that, 2 degrees in 1934. The sun came up at 6 minutes before 5, and it's going to go down at 9:28.
Coming up, the spectacular sight in the sky, what was caught on camera in Edmonton that has people talking.
Fair to say the entire country has World Cup fever. Tuesday on Your Morning, we're in conversation with Saskatchewan Soccer to find out what impact the tournament is having here at home.
Okay, let's take a look through the live lens of Skycam, and things are looking pretty pleasant. Mainly sunny skies right now above the bridge city, and warm temperatures. Yeah, yes, a little breezy, a little breezy right now, but all in all, things are looking pretty good. Let's take a look at the satellite and radar shot, shall we? This is what the big deal is. Even though we have a large area of high pressure that's really sort of keeping things calm, we need to keep our eye on this system moving up through the Idaho Panhandle into Montana, ultimately coming very close to the international border, and that is the reason why there's still a chance of some showers or thunderstorms in that part of southern Saskatchewan. More on that in a second or two. Just to recap, 22 degrees in Saskatoon and Prince Albert, 21 in the Battlefords right now. The hot spot, well, that was Val Marie at 23.3 degrees for a high temperature. Meadow Lake, the cold spot, at 7.5. Around the province we go. We've got ourselves 21 degrees in Lloydminster and Swift Current, and then 22 in Moose Jaw, Regina, Estevan, and Yorkton. And as we take a look at central Saskatchewan, not much of a variation in terms of the temperatures here, just a range of 2 degrees from 20 degrees in Spiritwood up to 22 in a number of locations. Up north, temperatures a little cooler, but still relatively pleasant. 16 in South End, but it does warm up to 22 in Buffalo Narrows and La Ronge, 20 in Sandy Bay Island Falls. And down south, a couple of places not reporting right now because it's just so darn hot. 23 degrees in Maple Creek. The coolest it gets on this part of our map is 20, and that's in East End and Assiniboia. So all in all, a fairly nice situation. It's also 23 in Carlisle. Here we go with our future cast. Well, really not a lot of active weather to talk about until we look down south. So yes, those impulses slashing across parts of the international borders. We get into the early morning hours and then and later in the afternoon for some parts of the province. So as you can take a look, temperatures in the low to mid 20s or high 20s if you want to call 26 high. We've got ourselves a mix of sky conditions for northern Saskatchewan. Temperatures hovering around 26 or 25 degrees with mainly sunny skies expected in Meadow Lake, Spiritwood, and Rosetown. A bit more cloud in Kindersley. Maple Creek, one of the places that might see some shower activity, 23. Warmer than that at 26 in Leader and Outlook, 22 for Swift Current. For southeastern Saskatchewan, temperatures in the low to mid 20s and a little warmer in east central Saskatchewan. Dropping down to 10 degrees for the Battlefords tonight, 27 tomorrow with mainly sunny skies and then a stretch of warm conditions. The coldest it gets, and it's not cold at all, 23 degrees on Thursday. Otherwise, temperatures around 26 or 27 degrees. Prince Albert's overnight temperature 9 degrees, 25 tomorrow. The winds shift around a little bit, but they're light. And then, once again, temperatures sort of hanging around that 26 degree mark with the exception of Thursday when it's 23 degrees in Saskatoon. We might see some fog patches tonight. Not much in the way of clouds out there. And then tomorrow, 26 degrees, mainly sunny skies. And the 7-day outlook for the Bridge City, as you can see, 27 degrees on Wednesday, 24 on Thursday, and then getting close to 30 30 by Saturday, and still pretty darn warm 1 week from today at 26 degrees. Taylor Swift fans are still basking in the afterglow of Friday's big wedding. The pop star married football player Travis Kelce in a star-studded ceremony at MSG, Madison Square Garden. Fans gathered in the heat outside the venue, sending their well wishes to the couple while they and their 1,000-plus guests celebrated inside. Comedian Adam Sandler, a friend of the newlyweds, officiated this ceremony. Swift's brother, Austin Swift, served as man of honor, and Kelce's brother, retired Super Bowl champion Jason Kelce, acted as best man. The Minions are once again reigning supreme at the weekend box office. Minions and Monsters brought in $36.4 million Friday through Sunday and $61.4 since it opened on Wednesday. It's the 7th movie in the Despicable Me franchise, and it successfully knocked out Toy Story 5 out of the #1 position, which still made $31 million US. The patriotic Young Washington stormed into 3rd with nearly $21 million in ticket sales. And George Clooney is set to receive a big honor as the Venice Film Festival will award him its Golden Lion Award. That's a Lifetime Achievement Award. And Clooney has been nominated in 6 different Oscar categories throughout his career. And for those scoring at home, he won for acting in Syriana and for producing with Argo. He's recently earned a Tony nomination for starring in the stage adaptation of Good Night and Good Luck. The Venice Film Festival takes place in September.
All right, Jeff, the photos have been pouring in all weekend. What did you choose?
Well, they are cloudy, so let's start off with this one. We got a sort of a series, and we'll get to more of them tomorrow, but we'll start off with these ones. This one comes from JR, or Jeffrey. Friday's clouds from the 6th floor in Evergreen facing north. So you can certainly see those clouds boiling up there or brewing up. The next one's from Jamie. 1014 near Rostern on Friday. Look at that. Yeah, that darkness on the edge of town. And finally from Tricia, last bit of the storm and northern lights over Waka Lake. So yeah, that is quite a combo platter there. And so thank you to everyone who sent us those pictures. And we will get to more of the stormier shots tomorrow. And if you'd like to send us some pictures, you can do so by sending it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca. And please put pick of the day in the subject line.
Still to come on CTV News, caught on camera. A look at what was captured in the night sky over Edmonton.
Your Morning Minute, brought to you by Affinity Wealth Management.
In the age of AI, people are changing how they research and how they ask questions, especially when it comes to their finances. Velvet Sudo is a wealth specialist with Affinity Wealth Management, and she's here to talk to us about investing in this new age. Velvet, with all the information available right now, do you find that clients are coming better informed, or is it a little bit overwhelming with all that information?
Yeah, I would say it's a little of both. They are definitely coming in better informed, but overwhelmed with all of the information that is out there. So what we as advisors do, we come in and we help sort through that noise and figure out what is appropriate for their individual needs, and then make sure that the decisions they make are in alignment with their goals.
Absolutely. And Affinity's wealth team of professionals have access to the tools needed to guide you through your investment journey. Check them out online at affinitywealth.ca and watch Your Morning Saskatchewan weekdays 6 to 9 on CTV or watch live on Crave.
The night sky came to life over the Edmonton area on Friday with a rare combination, the northern lights and a fireball. That fireball was spotted by Aurora watchers and recorded by doorbell cameras across Alberta. CTV's Noah Rashog shows us more.
Heather Hodvestad stepped outside to put new batteries in her doorbell camera Friday evening. Turns out she changed them just in time. Hodvestad and her partner witnessed this fireball as it streaked towards the northwest.
It's just, one of those rare occurrences. Some people never see that stuff in their whole lifetime, so just to see that here, just randomly walking out at that particular time, I guess the stars aligned.
The fireball was spotted across the province. Down in Airdrie, Aurora chaser Chris Ratzlaff says that he was watching the Northern Lights.
And then as I was panning across, I noticed this fireball streaking into my the view of my camera, and I just redirected from the Aurora and started following the fireball as it went down.
At the TELUS World of Science, head astronomer Frank Florian has been chasing fireballs for most of his career.
We didn't know this one was coming. It was probably about the size, of maybe a desk, maybe smaller. It doesn't have to be very large for it to actually create a spectacle like this one did.
He believes it was a meteor or a meteorite similar to this one that went down near Lloydminster. Doorbell cameras like Hodvestat's helped them triangulate their position.
We use doorbell cameras and other types of cameras that people, security cameras that people had set up outside to try to figure out where this thing could have come down. And they're very useful tools for the astronomers and the geologists that are really looking for these particular rocks, hoping to pick one up.
It's not yet confirmed what this fireball was or if it made contact with the ground. Noah Rashog, CTV News, Edmonton.
When we come back, the Mamba go the distance to take on Calgary. And later, why a former rider was forced to miss the wedding of the century.
Here's what's happening in our community. The TD Sask Jazz Fest is underway and runs until Saturday. There are free shows and ticketed events. Artists, showtimes, and venue details are all online. As You Like It and Julius Caesar are this summer's offerings from the Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan Festival. You can catch these professional productions from July 14th to August 23rd. You can submit your community event by visiting our website and clicking on Community Calendar or scan the QR code on your screen. Okay, time to take a look and see what's going on with our rural forecast for tomorrow. And oh, it's hot. Super hot? Not quite, but it's still hot. Let's not kid ourselves. Lots of sunshine, temperatures in the mid-20s, so things are looking good in that respect. And we don't anticipate a lot in the way of strong winds, so it should be a pretty pleasant day, unless you're hoping for a crosswind to cool things off. But we've got a lot of sunshine out there. Temperatures, as I say, in the mid-20s. And then as we make our way down south, a little trickier because of that system sneaking up from the US of A. 23 degrees in Maple Creek, 18 sort of along the international border, and a chance of showers in Rockland, East End, Cypress Hills, Coronach, and Maple Creek, as I mentioned already. Otherwise, temperatures are in the 20s, getting up to 26 in Leader and Rosetown. So what do we expect in the Manor area, which is down in the southern part of the province? Well, 21 degrees tomorrow, cloudy skies, so not raining. So cloudy conditions for Manor, winds out of the southeast at 15. And Manor is one of those locations where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
The Saskatoon Mamba put on a show during an historic match.
Pulls up, mid-range, yes! Jamal Fuller, a real North Classic winner!
The Mamba downed the Calgary Surge in the first ever CEBL game in the Yukon on Friday night with a score of 96-92. The game was the inaugural 2026 Real North Classic, which took place in Whitehorse. The Mamba have climbed back into the playoff race with a 7-8 record. They have the night off before returning to Merlis Belcher Place tomorrow to host the Vancouver Bandits. Starting today, all core federal public service workers are required to work in office 4 days a week. As CTV's Rachel Aiello reports, some workers say the return to in-person work has already been challenging.
The public servants I've been speaking to today say the rollout has been rocky, from several departments not having enough space for everyone to work comfortably, to the change complicating their commute, and childcare. Some federal public servants started their work week protesting the start of a new policy mandating them to be in the office 4 days a week. It's one more day than was already required, and workers say it won't make them any more productive.
It's not actually about doing a better job. It's about being seen to be there to check off a box on someone's list.
I'm coming into the office to do basically what I would do at home, and it's just a little bit more difficult because,
person next to me is on a phone call, the person in front of me is on a phone call.
Now, some departments have delayed implementation due to a lack of space, as the government is downsizing and converting some buildings into housing. The Treasury Board says the shift to more in-person time is to support the Prime Minister's ambitious agenda. The unions say while their efforts so far haven't stopped the policy from coming into effect, doesn't mean their fight is over. They vowed to continue fighting the government through legal, bargaining, public, and political avenues. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
Coming up, a scenic ride up for offers. Then what intercepted a former rider from going to a fine Hollywood affair?
Hey there, Derek Chesney here with the Saskatoon Crime Stoppers. Saskatoon Crime Stoppers is a non-profit organization that works with the community in partnership with the public, the media, and the police in a joint commitment to prevent and solve crime in Saskatoon and the province. Saskatoon Crime Stoppers provides the public with the opportunity to anonymously and therefore safely communicate information that they have regarding criminal activity in our community. Our program is entirely funded on community donations and corporate sponsors. If you know about a crime that has been committed, you can leave a tip by calling 1-800-222-8477 or online at our website at saskatooncrimestoppers.com. Tips can be left 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When submitting a tip, the caller will never be asked to reveal their identity. Once a tip has been submitted, a tip number is provided, and the caller's identity is never known to us. We will not ask your name, and you can remain anonymous. Information that is provided to Crime Stoppers can help police build cases in Saskatoon and around the province to reduce, prevent, and solve crimes. Please visit our website for more information. You can also check us out on Instagram and X for updates on active crimes and photos of suspects that are wanted or need identifying. Saskatoon Crime Stoppers, do your part to stop crime in our community.
Select Hair Service is brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here tonight on CTV. Well, if you're looking for scenery on a train ride, this one is pretty neat. It is in eastern China, though. You'll have to travel. Tourists can take a miniature train through a lotus-filled pond on a 1-kilometer track. It's a new feature at the Wildlife Park, and now 10,000 people per day are coming out for the unique ride. That would be a neat.
That is kind of cool. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, former Riders quarterback Zach Calero says he is disappointed to have missed the wedding of the century. Work just got in the way of going to his friend Travis Kelce's wedding on Friday.
I told him that. I talked to him the other day. They were taking a walk together. I'm like, you guys could have looked at the damn schedule.
The Bombers quarterback had to skip the New York City nuptials between Kelce and, of course, Taylor Swift as he was on the road in Hamilton for yesterday's game against the Ticats. His teammates decided to rub it in, posting on X, quote, bombshell groomsman skips wedding of the century. Calero says he feels bad because Travis went to all of his wedding festivities, but he says it's an unfortunate part of the job, missing memorable moments.
Oh, man.
That would suck.
They're former roommates from the University of Cincinnati when they both played for the Bearcats, but it was like, wow.
Yeah.
That must have been a difficult decision.
Fake an injury or something.
Yeah, that's what I was like, get the patented Jeff Rogstad, trick hamstring, and you got yourself a trip to New York City.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Anyways.
Big day tomorrow?
Yes. Don't want to forget that the Saskatoon Police Service is having their SPS Community Barbecue between 11 and 2, and you can do all kinds of things along with getting some barbecue. You can also, there's a dunk tank, and you can dunk a police officer in support of Special Olympics. So that's going on tomorrow at the police station between 11 and 2.
And the weather's going to be decent for that.
It's going to be great, so no excuse not to head down to the police station. Check it out.
Thanks for watching.